Okay, today what we're going to do is we're going to record a video about solving radical expressions using a calculator and defining their domains and ranges. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to see that the problem here is the square root of x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 2. There's two main types that you're going to have to solve. One where the x is greater than or equal to, and the other type is less than or equal to. And here's two examples of each one. We're going to do all four. Okay, so we're going to start off with this one, which is the square root of x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 2. Turn on your calculator. And we want to type in the left side of the equation in the y1. So we're going to go second square root x minus 3. Actually, see how I made a mistake here? We don't want to do that. You need to arrow over out of the square root and then put in the minus 3. Okay, that's the left side of the equation. And then I want to go to the next line and I want to put in the 2, the right side of the equation, in the y2. And again, press enter. So you see we have the square root of x minus 3 on the left is in y1, and the right side of the equation 2 is on the right. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to change the symbol right here for greater to greater than. So you arrow up, and then you arrow to the left, and you press enter until it looks like that. When the arrow is pointing up, that means greater than. So this is the greater than side of the equation, so we want it to be greater than. And then we want this one, the 2, to be less than. So we're going to press enter until it's showing this little arrow pointing down. So now we got this side being greater, that side being less. Now we can look at the graph. So we press graph. And we can barely see it on our screen. So this is good because now this tells us that we have to resize the screen. The way you should reset your window for all of these problems would be x to the negative 5. So we want a negative, this negative 5. We want the x max to go up to about 50, because what's going to happen is we're going to go further across the x-axis than we are across the y-axis. We're going to go, well, large positive is what we're going to do, not large negative. So we want to still be able to see the y-axis, so we want a negative 5 here. But we want to go real far to the right, so that's why we want to make this a 50. And then leaving negative 10 and positive 10, we'll have to see how it goes as we try different problems. But we might have to change these, I doubt it. So let's leave it where it's at and take another look at the graph. And so here you can see we have our graph. We have, looks to be that we have a solution right about here. And notice that the square root isn't going to come over here. So when we're trying to define the interval or the domain and range, what we're doing is we want to keep the x's happy between here and here, and we want to keep the y's happy between here and here. So that's what this is all about, is defining the domain and range and finding those values that make this equation true. Okay, so the way we do this is, if we want to find this coordinate, the calculator makes it really super easy. Is you go second, calc, and you want to do a number 5 for intersect. And the calculator takes you to the main screen, and all you want to do is press enter 3 times. So you go enter, enter, enter. And the calculator tells you that the x coordinate where the two lines are intersecting is at 25, and the two lines is at 25 too. Now the thing is we want x to be greater than this equation here, right? So what we want to do is we want all of the x's greater than this 25. and we can, and that's what your answer is going to be, literally, is it's going to ask you for the domain and the range, and you're going to say you want x to be greater than or equal to 25, and that's it. That's all it's asking you. If they wanted you to know what the range was, is you would say the range is y is greater than or equal to 2, or from 2 to positive infinity. And, or you could say that this would be from 25 to positive infinity, and that's it. That's all you have to do. You put the two equations in, you make sure that you have your less than or equal to symbol set up correctly, and then you do a second calc for an intersection. And heck, you really don't even have to do that if you don't want to. Watch, I'll show you in this next one. So the answer for this first one is x is greater than or equal to 25. Let's try the next one. The next one, it has, we want to clear the line, and we want 2 square roots of x minus 1, and then we want 5 in the next line. Okay, so you can change these. You don't have to have the greater than and less than symbols in there. You can leave them out if you want, if it's easier for you to make sense of. And okay, so once I type in the two equations, what we do is we do a second calc for a number 5 intersect. We already set the value, so you can see why using those numbers that we used allowed us to meet over here and allows us to meet over here for most equations. So those are really good numbers to use. Enter, 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 and the intersection is at x equals 9. We want x to be greater than that number, so we want x greater than or equal to 9, and it's that simple. That's all you have to do. So now let's try. The less than ones are actually a little bit harder. So let's try letter C. Letter C here is the exact same equation. See how I made them the exact same, except we want the less than. Okay? Now the less than is really still the same. You're going to type the equation in like we did, and then we do a second calc for a number 5 intersect. And we go enter, 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 and it tells us the lines intersect at 9, 5. Now we want all of the values less than 9, right? But the thing is that they run into, they can't go any further to the left because we'll get division by a negative, which is undefined. So the way that you use the calculator to find the number, this last number, is you press second table or second graph, and you arrow up on the x line until you error out. So you see how it's erroring at -1? So our last valid answer is x equals 0. And so from x equals 0 to the intersection of the lines at x equals 9, we have our interval. So it would go from 0 to 9. So when you look at your graph, what's happening is the x values are starting at 0 and they're stopping at 9. And that's going to be your interval or your domain. And now we'll do the last one, letter D. We press y equals, clear the line, put in the square root, second square root of x plus 5 is that one, and then we want a 4 there, press enter. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to go second calc for a number 5 intersect. This point here is where the x's are going to terminate. To find the point, you just press enter 3 times. So x is equal to 11 is the right side of the interval. And then to find the left side of the interval, what we do is we go second table, and we arrow up until we get an error. Here's our error at -5, -6. -5 is the leftmost point, so we'll go from -5 until to 11, where we have that other intersection. And that's it. That's the domain by using a calculator. You can see that the calculator will make it a lot faster and easier, but again, you still need to do it by hand because there are problems on the test where I am looking specifically for what you do in handwriting. Okay, we'll see you in class. Have a good day.